Some days we like race to the finish line. I feel like now we're sort of like right in front of the finish line and we're all just kind of taking a nap.
3 developers, 1 mission. Build a business to nurture personal fulfillment. It's not stupid. It's FounderQuest.
Okay, now we can talk about how terrible the world is. No.
Speaking of Apple. Yeah, it's been interesting. So I've been watching all the hubbub over the past few days about Hey and Apple. And
so what is Hey?
So Hey is this new email service from our friends at Basecamp. And
I still call them 37 Signals because we go back.
Way back.
They let me do that.
And also an app. So, of course, their web application comes with an iOS application, which has caused a bit of a kerfluffle in the Apple world over the past few days, which is funny that the timing is such that it's right before the Worldwide Developers Conference. That's interesting. But I was thinking about it this morning.
It's very interesting. Some would say it's a little more than a coincidence.
I bet you that we will see Basecamp releasing the company version of Hey very, very soon. And when they do, I bet you that the iOS app will be cleared for takeoff because then it'll be a company app, right? Exactly.
Like in air quotes.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
So y'all can't see my air quotes on listeners, but
what is this? What is the kerfuffle, as he called it? What's going on?
So Apple won't let Basecamp update their iOS app, and in fact have somewhat threatened to remove the existing app from the store because
the existing Basecamp?
No, the existing Hey app.
It's the new like their email client.
Yeah.
Because they do not support in-app purchases for the Hey subscription, which costs $100 a year. And of course, David and Jason are not willing to give Apple any cut. And Apple is saying, well, our rules are you got to do IAP if you want to have an app that does something that's tied to a subscription.
They want like 30% or something.
30%. So I bet you that company thing will come out real soon now. And as soon as they do, Apple will be like, okay, well, since it's not an individual thing, then of course we'll let that app in, just like a bunch of other apps that are currently in the App Store.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Fastmail. Right.
Like the argument is like consumer versus business, right?
Right.
That's the rules for consumer apps are different from the rules for business apps.
And, Basecamp, they're making quite a stink about this whole thing, saying it's highway robbery and it's, taxing the internet and all this kind of stuff. Right. But this is a thing of marketplaces. They charge you a fee for being on their storefront. Like that's just the way that these things work. It's not new. Right. And we do the same thing with Heroku. Right. We pay Heroku 30% of all the revenue that comes in through people using our service through Heroku. And that's just cost of being on the platform.
So let me ask you, I think I may have misunderstood this slightly. So in order to have any, I guess for new apps, Apple's saying that if you have any type of subscription service, it has to be purchasable through the app via Apple's payment, purchasing thing that's equivalent to Apple's version of sort of PayPal or whatever.
Yeah, if that app is a personal app.
If it's a personal app.
And not a reader kind of app like Netflix falls into the thing of readers, I think. So that's
I didn't know the reader distinction.
I was just going to ask about this because Netflix, you can't sign up through the App Store for Netflix. Right. So what's the difference?
Oh, because it's just it's like read only, it's just content you're viewing or something.
Yes. Yeah.
So if Netflix let you upload videos like Vimeo or something, then have to
imagine if you download the Netflix app and there was nothing you could do unless you had a paid subscription, right?
Yeah.
Then that would, if there wasn't any special exclusion for Netflix, like there obviously is, right? Then Apple would say, well, the app doesn't do anything useful. We don't want that kind of app on our app store. And that's the argument for Hey. It's it's an email app that can't load email from any other service except for Hey. And you can't use Hey unless you have a paid account.
And all you can do is log in.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I totally see Apple's stance on this, and a lot of people are thinking they're being jerks about it, but I mean, Apple's saying, hey, like, we have a big platform and you are reaping the benefits of being on our big platform, so pay us.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the bigger question is like, is it a good idea to like basically just build for one platform? Because like if you're gonna start like a new company, it is targeting solely, just building iOS apps, for instance. Is that a good idea?
You want to target like iOS and BlackBerry,
right? Use that get that iOS BlackBerry Electron port or whatever.
Just you playing off one another.
React Native. Does React Native target BlackBerry?
I don't know. It
probably.
My mind is just exploding right now.
Yeah. I find it funny, just the level of outrage on both sides. It seems like there's two very vocal camps on, like, one saying like Basecamp is just, drumming up all this outrage as a marketing strategy. And it's, it's just like billionaires fighting, like squabbling over 30% of their empires or something. And then on the other side, obviously you have, DHH and everyone else who's upset with Apple. But to me, it does seem like there are more pressing matters in the world right now than
you think just a couple things.
I can think of a few things.
Just a couple more important things.
Yeah.
The one thing about this is sort of, okay, first of all, I have to say, like, I was reading tweets from Andrei Butov, friend of the show, and I hope I can say that. I hope he doesn't get mad at me for saying that. And
well, he built our iOS app, right?
Yeah, he built our iOS app. So he's a friend of Honeybadger, I think. And we're a friend of his. And he was like, it's like, why are people taking sides on this? This is like two like companies that both make a ton of money, like just arguing over a percentage. Like, why are people taking up arms about it? And that made me kind of think, well, that was an interesting take, because I feel like Basecamp, NE37 Signals, like their shtick is like, we're bootstrappers. Like Jason Free goes in and speaks at like bootstrap conferences and stuff. But really, like, Basecamp is like in a league beyond pretty much any bootstrap company I know of that is sort of like, in that world. So it almost seems like disingenuous to me of DHH to be like, well, like, it's like, I'm just a little guy and I'm going to like, y'all should feel sorry for me. I'm going to use my public platform to complain to Apple, And I mean, yeah, Basecamp is much, much smaller than Apple, but it's like, well, I don't really care.
I think they're a bootstrap company to me. I mean, like, technically they're bootstrap. They bootstrapped the company to start it. Like, yes, they took investment from Jeff Bezos, but the model for that was not the same as most companies that take investment to grow the business. I think, like, I don't know. I could go either way on that. Like, but like, is this like, how pure do you have to be to qualify as a bootstrap company? Like, like Scotsman. Right. Like,
somebody's got to do a Scottish.
I mean, yes, they are the most successful. They're also one of the oldest. And to be fair, like, how many employees does Apple have versus like Basecamp's? How many? They're under 100 still, aren't they? I don't know. Like, yes, they're raking in the profit. And I like to think if we ever reach their level, we would be too. But yeah.
I just feel it's kind of silly to complain about having to pay a platform's fee when you want to be on the platform so you can get the benefits of the platform. Like, hey, if you don't want to pay the 30%, okay, yank your app. And if you're not going to do that, why aren't you going to do that? Like, what is the value that you're getting that you're insisting on having an app in the App Store? Okay, if you can say what that value is, now all you have to do is decide whether that value is worth 30% of your per user revenue. That's it. It's simple math, right? I think it's whiny entitlement to say, oh, well, we're special and we shouldn't have to pay because of X, or Apple can't charge anybody this because it's just rent seeking. Well, they built the platform. They're bringing the customers to you. They're adding value.
They own the apartment building. Like they're seeking rent for their apartment building.
Exactly. If you don't want a bed, then don't rent an apartment, But
what's kind of interesting, like what kind of bugs me about the DHH position is that it's sort of like invites sort of smaller bootstrap people to be like, yeah, like this is something that's against us, and like this is affecting us badly. But now that I'm sort of thinking about it in more detail, the thing that strikes me is that this is a situation that is really only going to affect people who bring their own market. Like Basecamp and DHH have their own massive following, right? And they're bringing a ton of customers. And so they just want to have a place where people can download an app and have their customers use it. But if you're just starting out, like I remember when we were just starting out and we were getting our extension on Heroku, it was like, sure, great, we'll pay 30% because we don't have any customers. Like if you can get us some customers, we'll be happy to pay you 30% for them. It's
totally.
just, yeah.
And if that is like your primary launch marketing channel and you are good, your app is good, then, you could get featured. There are avenues to advertise your service through the App Store as well, which I assume become more attractive to Apple if they are actually making money off of you. I mean, one would think.
Yeah, I think the workaround is you just make sure that it's not just an individual subscription. I'm really excited to see, like, if they launch the company thing, which it's already in beta, you can get an invite to it, right? So we know it's supported and it's coming soon. I just can't wait to see, like, once it lands, is the whole iOS thing.
Does it all go away?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then they're better for it.
Is that what we do? Do we have a company account, or are we just like grandfathered in?
Well, I did wonder, like, how does this affect the Honeybadger iOS app? Because it really doesn't do anything if you don't have a paid account, right? But we don't do it just based on individuals. It's based on teams, right?
Yeah,
Somebody can be paying for multiple people to use the service, the app. So, we're okay, I think.
Well, all I have to say on the whole thing is, like, if we're upset over billionaires ruining the world and we've reached DHH as the one that we're ranting about, man, we're really screwed.
I don't really care about DHH. I don't fundamentally care about any of this stuff. I'm just saying that like DHH is just not like, this isn't like the everyman versus like Goliath. This isn't like, it's like, man, capitalism really sucks because they're sticking it to DHH, whose company makes how many hundreds of $1 million a year. Like, it's just it's like a cockfight between capitalists. Like, let them do it. Fine. Yeah. Like, bet on sides. Who cares? But fundamentally, it's kind of meaningless to me.
That's fair.
You tried, hey, Ben, as did I.
Yes. Thanks.
Star, I tried to get you in with my invite. I thought that my invite had 3 and I only gave it to 3 other people, but maybe it included me in that or something. So
yeah, maybe I left out in the cold.
I was really excited to get you in there.
Invite code invalid. Now we really see why I'm like sticking it to DHH in this episode.
Because it's interesting, Star, that you're out of the 3 of us, you're the only one who hasn't been invited.
I know, right? I'm standing out here in the cold. I'm just like, like trying to sell my little matchsticks to make money.
Well, luckily, I think that you'll still have a good chance of getting Star as a username out of the 3 of us, I would say.
Yeah, at least you don't have to pay $1,000 to get your first name as a username.
Right.
I don't know. It costs like $10 a month, though, right? Or $100 a year.
$100 a year. But if you want a 3-letter name, like
or 2,
Ben, then you have to pay $1,000.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not sure
Ben is just a rich guy's name, okay?
A month for another email account. I've got too many email accounts.
Well, I happily pay Fastmail for my email. I have my own domain, so I get email at my first name at bencurtis.com, and been doing that for years. And for the longest time, I had that hosted at Gmail back when that was free. And I don't know, a year or 2 ago, I decided I want less Google in my life. And so I switched from Gmail to Fastmail for I have 5 or 6 domains that I actually care about email for. And I love it. I love Fastmail.
It's amazing.
For email. It's great.
Yeah. I use Fastmail too. And actually this whole Hey thing, because I went and tried it. I've tried it out. And I think it's cool and it has a lot of really good concepts. But I haven't come to the conclusion that it actually simplifies my email at all. just because I have I have different email accounts and I have a fairly complex setup. And I've also tried to I've done a lot of optimization of my own email process. So I've got a lot of, I guess, infrastructure set up to manage my email. And Hey just seems like a very you'd have to go all in on it. And it's not full featured enough to go all in with everything. So until it is, it ends up just being another another email account or whatever.
So what is the thing they're trying to do that fixes email? I don't even know what the point is.
Basically, they're trying to when I first signed into it and started to use it, they're taking a lot of good patterns that people have used, kind of set up with automation rules and more complicated setups in the past, and are trying to create basically just a template that does that for you. So it has a screening, it screens everyone by default, for instance. So when someone first emails you, it doesn't show up in your inbox. It goes to what I think they call the screener, and the screener basically gives you a thumbs up and thumbs down on whether you want to receive email at all from that person. And then also, if you do want to receive email, you can tell Hey what type of email that is. So it's either something someone contacting you, so you want that to go to your inbox, or maybe it's a marketing email or a receipt or etc. So kind of like Gmail's whatever they call the label system, updates and promotions.
Oh, cool. That sounds useful.
Yeah, I think if you don't have a 15-year archive of email, and you can be fine with just one email address, and you don't really have a lot of filters and automation in place already, it would be great for you. If you're not an email junkie expert, then do it, because it has, like Josh said, some great patterns. It's kind of when you said it kind of implements some well-known patterns or ways that we've been doing. It reminded me of Rails. That's what Rails brought to web
development. Rails for
right?
email. That's great. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. But yes, Basecamp likes to do this.
Yeah, exactly. Like before Rails, there were templating, there was MVC, there were database abstractions, but it wasn't all in one package that nicely put together. And so that was one thing that was really beautiful about Rails. And I get the same feeling about Hey. They've taken a lot of experience. For example, I have a newsletters filter in Fastmail. All the marketing stuff, all the newsletters I subscribe to, all bypass my inbox and go there, so I can check it when I want to. And so I think Hey is formalizing these kinds of patterns that people have gained over time.
As I was using Hey, there were some concepts that I really liked that I don't really have implemented in my email. So yesterday I spent a little time actually implementing. So I implemented a screener folder in Fastmail, because Fastmail filters have a option to filter basically any email that is from someone who isn't in your contacts. So basically, I just created a to screen folder and created a rule that said, if this person isn't in the contacts, put it in that folder instead of the inbox. And I basically that's essentially what Hey does. I think I'm actually going to do a little blog post on this, because I took screenshots and stuff as I set it up. So I'll share that maybe later this week or next week or something. But I really like it so far. And actually, I don't know how much further I'm going to go from that, because really all I want to do is I want to receive email from a few people should go to my inbox, but the rest of it, I just want to scan and archive. That's my process in Gmail and anywhere else that I use email. So basically I could just have it all go to this folder. I could whitelist just a few people. And then basically just the screening folder becomes just scan and archive. I can do that every day or every week. And just move, add whoever to the contacts if they're a new person that needs to make it through. And that actually is a lot simpler for me, I think, or will end up being a lot simpler for me than even Hey is in the end. So I think I really don't need, I don't need Hey personally.
Yeah, I might try that. I hadn't thought about setting up my own screen or anything like that, but I like that idea.
Yeah, I'll throw that blog post together, and
I wonder if,
but it's easy.
That sounds really great. I wonder if it would work for me personally. I tend to if I have a cabinet with lots of drawers, I will forget that the drawers exist and then never look in them.
Yeah.
So it's almost so my email workflow of just having a big inbox with 1,000 things in it that I have to go through each one is almost best for me because it's just one place I have to look and I know that I'll remember to do that. So I don't know. I would try it though.
I put mine like right under the inbox, or actually even above the inbox if you really want it to be front and center. And then in Fastmail you can color code the
cool.
the
I need to
folders,
get on Fastmail. I'm still like rocking Gmail.
Yeah,
I'm like it's 2007 over here.
The other big discovery I made this week was how Fastmail handles forwarding. So I now have both, because I have two other. I have Honeybadger and then I have Hint, the consulting company that I'm part of, and both have an email account. And so, like before, my workflow was basically I had the same workflow duplicated across 3 different email accounts. But now I have my 2 other Gmail accounts forwarding into Fastmail. And then Fastmail has an identities feature that actually integrates with Gmail. So like you can reply. So basically it's like, it's 3 email accounts in one. And so I basically have just one process now where I can manage all of my email accounts. And it's really fast.
Oh, awesome. That's
fast.
handy.
I guess that's why they call it Fastmail.
Here's another cool thing about Fastmail. So like I said, I have like 5 or 6 email domains all pointed at Fastmail. And I have each domain set up so that you can send email to any address at any of those domains and it'll come to my one inbox, right? So I can use that for like spam tracking, right? If I sign up for a newsletter, handy. I can, sign up with, some random email address at bencurtis.com, right? So the thing that's cool, like a bunch of email providers do that, but the thing that's cool about Fastmail is if you have that set up and an email comes into one of those throwaway email addresses and you reply to that, then the reply will come from that same email address that it came to. Yeah. Right. Instead of,
oh, nice.
That's like the same identities feature. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty handy. So you can still keep up the charade of having this, this other user specific email address.
You can actually, I do the same thing. I never thought about the catch-all thing because I always worried like that I'm going to get a bunch of, do you ever get like random people emailing random spam?
Of course. Yes.
So I do the same thing you do, but I just use the plus syntax with my name. So Josh plus whatever, tag I want for the service I'm signing up for.
Yeah.
But Fastmail also has, they have an aliases feature that not only can you create aliases on your own domain, but they give you like a list of like 30 plus different email domains that they just give you it's not for free because you pay for the service, but it's included. And you can create like basically an unlimited number of email addresses that work the same way. Like they come in and then you can reply to them. So I've used that before for like specific, like if I'm signing up for something that's potentially like really spammy, like I'll create a special, like there's no way of knowing that it's not even at my, my email domain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's for your black hat SEO forums.
Yeah. Right. We'll like put in our Fastmail referral code right here and
totally.
Just go to fastmail.com/honeybadger.
If you do, you'll be extremely disappointed.
Yeah. Ben Finley is setting up some podcasts like advertisements, right? And we're talking about doing that sort of like vanity domain thing. But in the end, it was like, it just seemed simpler to have people mention us in our little sign up. Why did you sign up? Like comments section.
Oh, yeah. You mean doing like a Honeybadger.io / the name of the podcast or something for them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're looking into like podcasts because suddenly we don't have conferences. Like conferences are just gone.
So Ben wanted to do a coupon that allowed people to get a credit, right? You sign up and you get X dollar credit, but Stripe doesn't support that. So we've done coupons before for these podcast sponsorships and conference sponsorships, and the coupons have always been either for $1 amount off or % off.
Okay. Let me stop you there. So what's the difference between like $10 off coupon and a $10 credit?
So, credit you'll consume over time, right?
Okay. So the $10 off coupon only works on the like 1 month's billing cycle.
Or 3 months or 6 months or whatever you specify.
Yeah, but like one payment.
Right.
It doesn't get depleted across multiple payments.
Right.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I love the idea of having sign-up credits. That's cool because then you can, for example, play with a more advanced plan, right? Try out some of those features, whereas a $1 off credit or coupon wouldn't give you that same ability to test it out like for free, right? So I think I wish that Stripe supported that, but in lieu of that, like you said, we're just going to do the manual thing.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But speaking of coupons and pricing, the new pricing that we launched a few weeks ago seems to be working okay.
Oh, tell me about that. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
I don't like this tone of your voice.
Yeah.
This doesn't sound good.
Well, I do watch the revenue closely, and the revenue does not indicate that this is a super win for us. So I think, more time is required. Like you can't judge new pricing with just a couple weeks worth of data, but early indications are that it's either neutral or somewhat negative. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, the economy is like on fire.
Yeah,
like it's really hard to know like what's caused by what these days.
Yeah. The economy's bad. We also, we introduced a much lower price point, so people are going to be defaulting to that initially. I mean, I would expect it. I mean, it's obviously not going to make as much unless like, we get exponential amount of more people signing up or something. But
yeah, I think the intent of the lower pricing was to be more attractive to people signing up, and that I think has borne out. We've seen an increase in the numbers of people signing up for paid accounts. Yeah. So that's where So hopefully over months we'll see.
It's gonna take a while.
Yeah.
I mean, if it works out, it'll have to work out in like the lifetime value or something, right? And I don't know either.
I'd rather have more. I don't know. Like I'd rather like have more people paying us than necessarily have like the total amount of money they pay us
from first
a little
time
bit higher.
Distributes that risk, right?
Same here. And it's amazing. It's always been amazing to me, like how few signups we've actually had over the lifetime. Like we don't have like hundreds of people signing up like every day, right? And it's really, I mean, it's been like it's kind of like a slow drip of customers coming in over time. And it's always been amazing to me, like how big of a business you can build with just that slow drip of customers. The fact that we haven't I don't know. It's also made it a little bit difficult for me when we're making pricing changes, because like we don't have like, we're not like Zoom or something where we can like get like statistical benefits of like analyzing the rate of signups and figure out like how our pricing is affecting it. So anything that moves the needle on like more people signing up and assuming they stick around and like maybe even pay us more in the long run. Like you can't get introduced to Honeybadger and like it enough to like, bring it with you to your next company unless something you have the opportunity to use it now. So anything that adds customers is like, I'm usually pretty like positive on that.
Yeah. We're the people. Like one time a couple years ago or several years ago, I was like, remember like when everybody was like A/B testing, you got to do A/B testing. Like there are all these presentations like, I did some A/B testing and I found that if I changed the color of my sign up button from blue to green, we made 50% more money that year. That was all. Well, I mean, okay. Yeah.
That was Google.
Lies. It was all lies. But also, like, it's impossible to do any kind of A/B testing unless you have a ton of, like, unless your sample size is large enough, right?
Yes.
If you've got a really small sample size, then, and these A/B testing tools will actually calculate it for you. It's like, how long do you need to wait to get some meaningful data on this? And it was like 2 years. It's just like, no, thank you. I'm just going to go back to guessing.
We have had a few more customers sign up since the last time we tried A/B testing. So maybe the time frame would be a little shorter than 2 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but it's been more than 2 years. Maybe we should have just left it running.
How's that test going, Star?
Yeah. It's like, well, like, I don't know. We've changed the website a little bit since then.
Yeah. I like our approach of, longitudinal testing versus parallel A/B testing.
Yeah.
I like the way you say that, longitudinal.
makes me feel more sciencey, it's a longitudinal study.
Sciencey. Right? Sciencey should be the word of the year or the decade. Yeah. I'm glad you're keeping track of that though. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. The flip side of the, like the whole pricing thing is like, if it's not working or we realize like we're not we're not making enough off of people initially signing up, we can always raise the lower end of the pricing a little bit. And then if that doesn't reduce the rate of signups, then that's a good sign. That's a good signal for us. I think it's always been a pretty good signal, because we did that in the past where when we were charging too little, we just started bumping the price a little bit, and then you can watch that. And usually it doesn't matter how many signups you get. Like usually if it's going to like impact you, if it's going to have a big impact, you'll see a little bit of a dip or something. Like at some point people will stop paying, versus like there's rarely a point where when you drop the price, people will, you're always going to get more people or whatever. So,
yeah. But I really love the plans. I love having the change that we made where we have the team versus business and then the different traffic tiers. That's, I think, makes a lot more sense than the small, medium, large stuff that we had before.
Yeah. I think it's a good framework. It's a better framework moving forward, even if the numbers change a little bit over time.
Yep.
Yeah. And regardless of the numbers, it's nice to have made the world make a little bit more sense. Because so much of the world makes no sense whatsoever. So it's nice in our little corner. Like we've got our little like Japanese garden.
Doing our part to bring peace to the world.
Yeah.
Well, I think next week, maybe 2 weeks from now, we'll need to talk about a new product release.
Oh yeah. You're ready. Yeah. You're going to be ready.
Going to drop a few hints here.
Yeah. Well, if you're a web developer, you'll be interested. How's that?
Oh, don't give away the farm. Like, what are we?
Yeah, we can't stray too far from our current customers. Like we love web developers, so we have to build more products for them. But I will say that one person with whom I have shared more detail about this side project, this person said, because it could be infrastructure heavy, and we kind of know a thing or two about infrastructure here at Honeybadger.
You do. I don't.
This person said, I would trust you with this type of service because I know how good you are at this sort of thing.
That's a great.
That's a great compliment.
We'll have to put that on the testimonials page when we do our launch page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to say. So I was in Basecamp and I was reading your spec that you wrote. I was like, wow, this is actually really, like, I read it one time because I was like in a rush and I read it. I was like, okay, that looks good, whatever. And then I came back to it later. I was like, this is really a good idea. So
I'm excited.
I'm
really excited.
Yeah. So hopefully this week or today I created the official Amazon account for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was just doing it on the personal account before, but I do love, so one of the things that I'm doing is segregating this from the rest of Honeybadger.
Yes.
That's
a pro tip. That's a pro tip.
Yeah. Just in case something bad happens, or what are you going to say, Star?
I was just use separate AWS accounts for separate products.
Things. Yeah.
Because who knows, someone might want to come along and say, hey, I want to buy that thing. And it'll be much easier to turn over that Amazon account versus trying to pull stuff out from a commingled account. So
I think I still may be hosting some files on S3 for old clients. Like I don't know, and it doesn't cost hardly anything. So, but I think I may still now, like, some of their files may be on my personal AWS account.
Nice. Those were the days.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited about this, the launch. I just realized that I'm going to be off for 2 weeks starting Monday. So if this launch is happening in the next 2 weeks, then you might see me pop back in, because I'm not going to I don't know if I can keep myself away, at least from, doing some signal boosting or something. Sure. And also I'm really excited about the marketing side of it too, because there's a lot of good marketing opportunity, I think, for this.
Definitely.
It's
and I feel like we got to keep up this tradition of Ben launching gigantic things right? While you're on vacation, Josh.
Yeah. I just realized that really does fit that narrative. So maybe I should just go away. Maybe that'll actually help the success, because it's worked well in the past.
So if you go on vacation and we deploy big new things, then I propose that when I go on vacation, that you get a bunch of new customers.
That works for me. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say that we undeploy them, that we crash them.
Just, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what people think about this, and see what we can do to push it going forward. I think it'll be great.
Hope so. Well, is that a wrap?
All right. If you've enjoyed this show, go to Apple Podcasts and give us a review, I guess. And if you want to write for us, I'm still doing that. Still publishing the old blog. Go to honeybadger.io, go to the blog, and there's a write for us thing in the header. And until next week, this has been FounderQuest.
FounderQuest is a weekly podcast by the founders of Honeybadger. Zero instrumentation, 360-degree coverage of errors, outages, and service degradations for your web apps. If you have a web app, you need it. Available at honeybadger.io. Want more from the founders? Go to FounderQuestPodcast.com. That's one word. You can access our huge back catalog or sign up for our newsletter to get exclusive VIP content. FounderQuest is available on iTunes, Spotify, and other purveyors of fine podcasts. We'll see you next week.